Hey guys, welcome to the Python programming tutorial by UPlats. So we are starting with a new course here in this series of lectures and a course on Python. We will be seeing the GUI programming using tkinter. So it comes under the GUI programming in Python, and Python supports few GUI programming libraries, the most common being the tkinter. Okay, so we will see what is GUI programming, what is tkinter, what are the applications, what are the different libraries supported by the Python for building GUI applications, and the detailed tutorial on tkinter. Okay, so let's start with it. So first, let me tell you what is the meaning of graphical user interfaces, and we will see the agenda of this tutorial and what will be covered in this tutorial. Okay, so you can see here the agenda of this lecture is introduction, then tkinter and Python programming, and few tkinter examples. The tkinter examples we will do in a practical manner. I will show you from the basic examples to how to build the individual components, and at the end of this tutorial you will be able to program the GUI applications starting from very simple to very complicated applications. Okay, so let's start with the introduction. So you must first understand the GUI and tkinter. So what is GUI? A graphical user interface allows a user to interact with a computer program using a pointing device that manipulates small pictures on a computer screen. So without GUI, it becomes very difficult for the user to interact with the computer. Just when you switch on your computer, you will see the desktop, correct? On the desktop, by default, there will be some applications like My Computer, MS Office, okay? So a GUI makes interaction with the computer or any device simple, okay? It makes the communication easier. Without GUI, it's very complicated for you to communicate with the system, right? The small pictures are called icons or widgets. So all those icons, what you see on your desktop when you switch on your computer, are known as icons or widgets. You will understand what is widget when we start with the tkinter. Various types of pointing devices can be used, such as a mouse, a stylus pen, or a human finger on a touch screen. So the most common pointing device for a GUI is a mouse, correct? And the stylus pen, it's very rare to use. And when you are using a laptop, you usually use your finger for the pointing device. Okay, you move your finger on the moving pad on the laptop. Okay, and if the device is a touching screen, so you will always use your finger to interact with the system, correct? We refer to programs that use a graphical user interface as GUI programs. A GUI program is very different from a program that uses a command line interface. So when you run the command line prompt, you can also interact with your system, but there are so many commands and instructions to be executed. Okay, to open a file or a folder or a directory, you need to run some commands. So it makes the command line interface less user friendly compared to the GUI interface. Okay, the command line interface receives user input from typed characters on a keyboard. Typically, programs that use a command line interface perform a series of tasks in a predetermined order and then terminate. So you need to execute commands using the command line prompt. Okay, you can open anything. You can open and do anything using the command line, but it is very less user friendly as compared to the GUI program interface. However, a GUI program creates the icons and widgets that are displayed to a user, and then it simply waits for the user to interact with them. So it's very easier and very time-saving approach to use the GUI icons and widgets as compared to the command line programming interface. The order that tasks are performed by the program is under the user's control, not the program's control, correct? So what you want to do is your own wish, okay? The system cannot control it. The user can do anything he wants in his order. This means the GUI program must keep track of the state of its processing and respond correctly to the user commands that are given in any order the user chooses. The style of programming is called event-driven programming. So you will understand the event-driven programming is a very important component of GUI. So when we start Tkinter, I will also introduce you to the event-driven programs, okay? In fact, by definition, all GUI programs are event-driven programs. So this GUI mainly works on event-driven programs, right? So when you click on something, some event takes place. When you double click on something, an event takes place. When you right click on something, a list of events are ready to execute, correct? So all these things you must have seen already from the beginning, from your childhood, okay? So this is GUI programming. The GUI program has the following structure. Creates the icons and widgets that are displayed to a user and organize them inside a screen window, correct? Whatever you do, that will be inside a screen window. So all those widgets, the communication, everything happens inside a screen window that is known as a parent window. Define functions that will process user and application events. So whatever you do, I told you when you left click, double click, and the right click, all these, for all these, there are some events happening, okay? All the functions are defined, and when you select something, a corresponding or an associated event will take place. Then the next one, associate specific user events with specific functions. So when you open a computer, when you double click on my computer, your my computer application will open. Something else will not open, correct? So this means specific user events are related with specific functions. Okay, then you can start an infinite event loop that processes user events. When a user event happens, the event loop calls the function associated with that event. So you can do something repeatedly. You can do something infinitely, correct? So that is known as an infinite loop. So an event loop takes place with that event, correct? Then finally, a GUI program's interface is composed of widgets displayed in a window. Your computer's operating system controls the creation and manipulation of windows on your computer's display screen. The operating system also controls the pointing devices on your computer, such as a mouse or a touch screen. Therefore, your computer's operating system is what recognizes events that happen in a window. Your OS also sends events to your program in the order they are generated by the user. Your program's event loop responds to these events. All GUI programs have the same event loop. So there is an event loop provided for you, and it looks something like a very user-friendly approach, correct? So you can see there, communication can be performed by interacting with these icons rather than the usual text-based or command line based communication. So then what are the GUI options in Python? So Python provides some GUI options, the GUI libraries. Okay. So you can see here, I have given a very short list of the libraries provided by Python for GUI programming. So not only these, there are few more libraries that can be used for GUI programming using Python. The first one is tkinter. The tkinter is the easiest to start with. That's why we are starting with tkinter. I will also start one more library along with tkinter once we are done with the first one, that is a tkinter. Tkinter is Python's standard GUI package. It is the most commonly used toolkit for GUI programming in Python. And the second one is JPython. It is a Python platform for Java that is providing Python scripts seamless access to Java class libraries. Then we will have WXPython. It is an open source cross-platform GUI toolkit written in C++. So we may not use JPython and WXPython. We will do tkinter and something else which is better and sophisticated and that is most commonly used. Okay, so we will first do the tkinter. So the tkinter is an abbreviation for TK interface. Okay, so you might have wondered what is this tkinter. It is not a word. It has 3 words in it. That is TK interface. That is toolkit interface. Okay, TK stands for toolkit and inter stands for interface. So it's combination of 3 words, toolkit interface. TK is a platform independent, customizable and configurable GUI library. The Python module tkinter allows Python programs to use the TK libraries. Okay, so we will have an overview of tkinter. And you can see here TCL, TK and tkinter. TCL is a general purpose multi-paradigm system programming language. It is a scripting language that aims at providing the ability for applications to communicate with each other. On the other hand, TK is a cross-platform widget toolkit used for building GUI in many languages. This tutorial covers various topics ranging from the basics of the TK interface, and very many applications and many examples are also covered. Okay, and TCL is a short form for tool command language. Okay, tool command language. It is a combination of a scripting language and its own interpreter that gets embedded to the application when we develop it. TCL was developed initially for the Unix. It was then ported to Windows, then distributed operating systems and Mac and others. TCL is much similar to other Unix shell languages like Bourne shell, the Korn shell, and the Perl, etc. It aims at providing ability for programs to interact with other programs and also for acting as an embeddable interpreter. Even though the original aim was to enable programs to interact, you can find full-fledged applications written in TCL and TK. Then what are the features of TCL? We are just covering the basics of TCL. We are not doing any examples of TCL. The features of TCL are the development time can be reduced. It is powerful and simple user interface kit with integration of TK. You can write once and run anywhere. Okay, it runs on Windows, Mac, and almost on every Unix platform. It is quite easy to get started for experienced programmers since the language is so simple that they can learn TCL in few hours. You can easily extend existing applications with TCL. Also, it is possible to include TCL in C or C++ or Java. It has a powerful set of networking functions. It is an open source, free, and can be used for commercial applications without any limit. Okay. Then what are some applications of TCL? TCL is a general purpose language, and you can find TCL everywhere. It includes scalable websites that are often backed by databases, high performance web servers built with TCL HTTP, TCL with CGI based websites, desktop GUI applications, embedded applications. Okay. So all these are with respect to the TCL. Then let's talk about tkinter. The tkinter also provides the functionality to create any user interface imaginable. Okay. To create a custom GUI program, you basically do few things. Okay. So create instances of the widgets you want in your interface, then define the layout of the widgets, create functions that will perform your desired actions on user generated events, and connect your functions to specific user events, and finally start a GUI event loop. So as I told you, tkinter is actually an inbuilt Python module used to create simple GUI applications. It is the most commonly used module for GUI applications in Python. And you don't have to install and download the tkinter module. It is already available and it comes with Python by default. Python offers multiple options for developing GUI, as I showed you before. Out of all the GUI methods, tkinter is the most commonly used method. It's a standard Python interface to the TK GUI toolkit. Okay, and Python combined with tkinter is the fastest and easiest way to create the GUI applications. And at the very basic thing, how to create a simple tkinter app. You need to first import the tkinter module using the import statement. Then create a main window. I told you, right, all the widgets and icons are present in the main window that is known as the parent window. So you need to create the parent window as the second step, and you can add any number of widgets. The widgets will come later. Once we go to the next slide, I will show what are the available widgets in tkinter. Okay, you can add any number of widgets to the main window. Apply the event trigger on the widgets. So once you execute it, you will run your first basic tkinter GUI program. Okay. So tkinter is the most commonly used library for developing GUI in Python. It is a standard Python interface to the TK GUI toolkit shipped with Python. It's cross-platform, so the same code works on Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. Visual elements are rendered using native operating system elements. So applications built with tkinter look like they belong on the platform where they are run. Okay. Although tkinter is considered the de facto Python GUI framework, it is not without criticism. Okay. However, tkinter is lightweight and relatively painless to use compared to other frameworks. This makes it a compelling choice for building GUI applications in Python, especially for applications where a modern machine is unnecessary and the top priority is to build something that's functional and cross-platform quickly. So tkinter is the most commonly used library for developing GUI in Python. As TK and tkinter are available on most of the Unix platforms as well as on the Windows system, developing GUI applications with tkinter becomes faster and easier. So next we will see the Tkinter widgets. Okay, so widgets are the basic building blocks of TK interface. Okay, Tkinter. So Tkinter provides controls such as buttons, labels, frames, messages, text boxes used in a GUI application. So these controls are commonly called widgets. So once in the next slide, I will start showing you the widgets available in Tkinter. So widgets are any functional basic building blocks of Tkinter. And you can see there are around 20 types of widgets in Tkinter. Starting from button to TK message box, there are around 20 widgets that we can use while building our GUI applications. So we will see one by one of these, and we will also see some extra attributes of dimensions, colors, okay, background, and everything in this tutorial. So let's begin with the first widget, that is the button widget. And apart from those widgets, I told you there are some standard attributes. Their attributes have some functionalities like dimensions, colors, fonts, anchors, relief styles, bitmaps, cursor, everything. So all these are the attributes. So all these are the standard attributes in the Tkinter. Then finally, we will see the geometry management. The geometry management widgets have access to specific geometric management methods, which have the purpose of organizing the widgets throughout the parent window. Okay, so how do you want to use them? How do you want to place the widgets are the geometry management methods. The first one, the pack method, the grid method, and the place method. So you can see what's the pack method. This geometry manager organizes widgets in blocks before placing them in the parent widget. Then the grid method organizes widgets in a table-like structure. The most common application for grid method will be the calculator, correct? The calculator will be the best example for the table-like structure. Then finally, the place method organizes the widgets by placing them in a specific position in the parent widget. All right. So these are the geometry management methods. Okay. So the first widget we are starting with the button. Okay. So for every widget, I have given a diagram so that it will be easier for you to understand and remember and guess the use of this widget. All right. So the first one is the button. So you can see the background window that is displaying the hello button. Okay. That is the button widget. The button widget is used to add buttons in a Python application. These buttons can display text or images that convey the purpose of the buttons, correct? So you can see hello on the button of the background widget. So that has a purpose. You can also display images on the buttons which convey the purpose of that button. And not only this, you can also attach a function or a method to a button, which is called automatically when you click the button. So you know functions, right? To use the functions, you must call the functions. So similarly, in the GUI programming, to call a function, you need to click on a button or something else. Then the function will be called and the function will be taken action, right? So this is the button. Apart from this, the syntax of the button, when we use the button widget, we need to pass some parameters into it. The most common parameters are the master parameter and the option parameter. The master parameter represents the parent window, okay, in which window you want to use this button, that is known as the parent window. And for the options, there are many options. There's a list of most commonly used options for this button widget, and I will tell a few options for using the button widget. The first option is active background. Okay, this is the background color when the button is under the cursor. The next one is active foreground. This is the foreground color when the button is under the cursor. The next one is BD, that is border width in pixels. The default border width is 2 pixels. Okay, then BG, the normal background color. Then the command. So I told you, you can also add the functions, right, to the button. So when you're adding some functions to the button, you need to use the command option. So this is a function or a method to be called when the button is clicked. Then FG, the normal foreground color. Then font, the text font to be used for the button's label. So the font, you have a list of fonts available in Tkinter. I will show you once we start doing the examples. Then height of the button in text lines or pixels. Then we have highlight color, the color of the focus. And then the next options are highlight color, the color of the focus highlight when the widget has focus. Then we have image option, the image to be displayed on the button instead of text. Then we have justify option. This is how to show multiple text lines. Left for the left justify in each line, center to center them, or right to right justify. Then pad X, additional padding left and right of the text. Then pad Y, additional padding above and below the text. Then relief specifies the type of the border. Some of the values are sunken, raised, groove, and ridge come under the relief option. Then we have state. Set this option to disabled to gray out the button and make it unresponsive. It has the value active when the mouse is over it. And the default value of the state is normal. Okay. Then we have underline. The default is -1, meaning that no character of the text will be underlined. If it's set to a positive value, the corresponding text will be underlined. Then we have width of the buttons in letters or pixels. Then we have finally the wrap length. If this value is set to a positive number, the text lines will be wrapped to fit within this length. Okay, so all these are the list of options for the button widget. And button widget supports some methods like the flash method and the invoke method. The flash method causes the button to flash several times between active and normal colors. It leaves the button in the state it was in originally, ignored if button is disabled. Okay, then we have invoke button, calls the button's callback and returns what the function returns, and it has no effect if the button is disabled or there is no callback. So these are the functions for the button widget. You will see the examples of both of these. So that was about the button widget. The next one is the Python Tkinter canvas. So the canvas is a rectangular area intended for drawing pictures or other complex layouts. Okay, you can place graphics, text, widgets, or frames on a canvas. So as you can see, I have written some drawing on the canvas. So canvas is like a drawing area. Okay, it's a rectangular area intended for drawing pictures or anything you want using the GUI toolkit. And when we use the canvas function, when we use the canvas widget, again it has some arguments. The first one is the master and the second one is the option. Master is again the parent window, and the options for the canvas are border width, then the normal background color, then confine is the new option here. The confine, if it is true, the canvas cannot be scrolled outside the scroll region. Okay, that is the confine. Then we have cursor used in the canvas like arrow, circle, dot, etc. Then we have the height, size of the canvas in the Y dimension. Then we have highlight color shown in the focus highlight. Then we have the relief option, the same values like raised, groove, ridge, and sunken for the relief option. Then we have the scroll region. This scroll region is a tuple of 4 values, the west, north, east, and south, that defines how large an area the canvas can be scrolled, where W is the left side, N is the top, E is the right, and S is the bottom, that is the south direction. Then we have width, size of the canvas in the X dimension. Then X scroll increment. If you set this option to some positive dimension, the canvas can be positioned only on multiples of that distance. Then we have X scroll command. If the canvas is scrollable, this attribute should be used. This attribute should be set method of the horizontal scroll bar. Then we have similarly the Y scroll increment and Y scroll command. Okay, so these are the options for the canvas widget. The canvas widget can support the following items like arc. An arc creates an arc item which can be a chord, okay, or simply a arc. We will see what is this when we start the canvas. Then for the arc, we need to define the coordinates like 4 values. You need 4 values to define the coordinates, okay. And the arc function has the parameters like coordinates, start, extend, and the fill option. The fill option is for the color of that arc, okay. Then we have image, creates an image item which can be instance of either the bitmap image or the photo image classes. Then we have line, creates a line item. Then we have an oval, creates a circle or an ellipse at the given coordinates. It takes 2 pairs of coordinates, the top left, bottom right corners of the bounding rectangle for the oval. Then finally, we can also draw polygon. The polygon attribute creates a polygon item that must have at least 3 vertex. Okay. So these are with respect to the canvas widget. Now next we have this check button. So you can see the diagram there. I have shown you a simple diagram for the check button. The check button widget is used to display a number of options to a user as toggle buttons. The user can then select one or more options by clicking the button corresponding to each option. you can also display images in place of text. Okay. The syntax for the check button is when you call the check button widget, again the same master and option values have to be passed. For the check button, the options are background, active foreground, the background color, the bitmap, the border around the indicator. The default border is 2 pixels. Then the command, okay, a procedure to be called every time the user changes the state of the check button. Then we have the cursor. If you set this option to a cursor name, the mouse cursor will change to that pattern when it is over the check button. Then we have disabled foreground. The foreground color used to render the text of a disabled check button. The default is a stippled version of the default foreground color. Then we have the font used for the text. We have foreground, the color used to render the text. We have height, the number of lines on the check button. Default height is 1. Then we have highlight color, the color of the focus when the check button has the focus. We have the image to display a graphic image on the button. We have the justify option here. If the text contains multiple lines, this option controls how the text is justified. Is it center, right, or left? We have an off value option for this check button widget. Normally, a check button's associated control variable will be set to 0 when it is cleared off. You can supply an alternate value for the off state by setting off value to that value. Then we have on value. Normally, a check button's associated control variable will be set to 1 when it is set to on. You can supply an alternate value for the on state by setting on value to that value. Then we have pad X, how much space to leave to the left and right of the check button and text. Default is 1 pixel. We have the pad Y option, how much space to leave above and below the check button and text. Default is 1. We have the relief option. The relief equals flat by default. The check button does not stand out from its background. You may set this option to any of the other styles. Then we have select color, the color of the check button when it is set. Default set color will be red. We have select image. If you set this option to an image, that image will appear in the check button when it is set. We have the state option. The default is state normal, but you can use state equals disabled to gray out the control and make it unresponsive. If the cursor is currently over the check button, the state is active. Text option, the label text, the label displayed next to the check button. Then we have underline. The underline options can be -1 and some positive values. And we have a variable option, the control variable that tracks the current state of the check button. Normally this variable is an int variable, and 0 means cleared and 1 means set. And we have width. The default width of a check button is determined by the size of the displayed image or text. You can set this option to a number of characters, and the check button will always have room for that many characters. Then we have finally the wrap length. Normally lines are not wrapped. You can set this option to a number of characters, and all lines will be broken into pieces no longer than that number. So all these are the options for the check button. Then we have the methods for this check button: the deselect, flash, invoke, select, and toggle. These are the functions for the check button. The toggle clears the check button if sets if it is cleared. The select function sets the check button on. The invoke function, you can call this method to get the same actions that would occur if the user clicked on the check button to change its state. Then we have the flash option. Flash method flashes the check button a few times between its active and normal colors. Then we have the deselect function, clears off the check button. Okay, so all this was about the check button. All right.